As Carolyn said, that Supreme Court ruling involved three cases and three basic issues: possession, cultivation, and trafficking. The possession case involved Randy Caine of British Columbia, who was arrested in White Rock in 1993 with half a gram of marijuana. He joins us now from Vancouver. Was this the decision that you were expecting?
I wasn't necessarily expecting any general outcome. What I've been working towards over the last 10 years was towards the evolution of these policies.
So are you surprised by the ruling? Are you disappointed? What's your feeling today?
I'm actually very inspired by it. To hear that it is split, 3-6 would show that at least 1/3 of the Supreme Court of Canada has found the significance of the arguments, and I think are consistent with the overall views of Canadians. Largely, I think for most of us as Canadians, we're not necessarily turning to the government or the courts to determine our sense of freedom, but some form of validation of the principles of a just society that we live within, I believe are the basis for the decisions. Now, until we can further analyze, I haven't had the opportunity yet to see the judgment. It will be very interesting to see exactly how the other 6 justices felt about this matter.
Now, the Supreme Court of Canada has basically said it's up to Parliament to craft the laws that deal with this. How optimistic are you that something is going to come of that will satisfy people such as yourself?
Well, I mean, like I say, I believe that social policies are all about time. They're all about the evolution, and very clearly with the discussions that are coming from the federal government, they're getting themselves caught up also in the winds of change. I've never been, outspoken in terms of advocating the use of drugs or the use of marijuana. I've really been a critic, largely of drug policy as it exists today. It seemed very inconsistent with what I would call our social contract. And in fact, this would seem to be indicated by the judgment that's come from the Supreme Court of Canada.
Federal lawyers are essentially saying that there is no freestanding right in this country to get stoned, and obviously today's ruling is a step in that direction. What do you say to critics, though, who are concerned that the decriminalization of marijuana will lead to more liberal drug use?
Well, I mean, these arguments have been brought forward, over the years. I find, though, that throughout the world, there's been an increase in altered drug policy throughout Europe. Australia is a very good example. And this has not been sort of validated or vindicated, that view. These are largely scare tactics and aren't representative of current state of knowledge.
What are your thoughts today on the stance that you've taken through all of this and what that has meant to you personally?
Well, for me, like I say, my background is sociology. I came into this, as I've said earlier, as not an advocate for the use of drugs. I view that as a personal and private decision and right for adults to make. But as I came in as a critic of drug policy, in terms of that, I have seen it evolve when I see our views here, at least on the West Coast, in terms of harm reduction policies. They're absolutely consistent. We're really now beginning to look beyond sort of the moral consideration of drug use and really looking at the harm that can be brought to individuals who are users, but more importantly to society at large. So from where I stand, I'm very inspired by this decision. I've never viewed what I've undertaken as something that was balanced upon win or loss, but really based upon, the slow evolution of this and having the discussion begin to develop and have Canadians talk about this and begin to find out what would be best for us as Canadians.
All right. Randy Caine, thanks for talking to us today.
A pleasure. Thank you.
To other news.
Clear decision. The Supreme Court of Canada ruled against marijuana users this morning. It says there is nothing unconstitutional about this country's pot laws. The activists who pursued the case to the Supreme Court aren't happy, but some people are. Here's how the Canadian Police Association reacted to the ruling.
We're very happy with this decision. It's a clear decision that says, first of all, that the current laws right now are those that prevails, and it's up to the government. If they want to amend the law or change the law, it's up to them to do it. We have comments from police officers that are also parents. There are parents, there are teachers, there are a lot of people in this society that probably you don't hear much, but we do have contacts with them, and they say how much it is harmful. You have to talk to parents who have problems with kids that do struggle with drug abuse. When you hear them, you get very concerned. Police officers across Canada that are frontline police officers, that they have those problems to face with. And those are clear message there. So we've been approached by different associations, and they said, please continue exactly what you're doing. Try to explain to the government how important it is not to banalize marijuana. It is a drug.
That's the view of the Canadian Police Association, at least the police chiefs. They like it. The Supreme Court ruling, though, does not please marijuana activists around the country. They were hoping for a new legal era for pot users.